down here we've got some beetroot. Can you see how we've got these really purpley leaves? The common thing these days is these purpley leaves are used in salads, in bags of mixed salad. So a lot of people like eating these beetroot leaves. They'll grow quite about that big like that. They'll produce a nice big beetroot that'll be like that. Of course, beetroot is a root plant. It's a root vegetable. So the actual beetroot grows into the ground. It produces like a head which will grow around here, and it'll grow into the ground, you know, a bit like a carrot. So we'll move on and we'll look at something else now. There is a row in there, all the way down there, but it all needs weeding so that we can see all the purple. In a bit I'll be able to see just the purple leaves once I've weeded. So we'll move on and is the angle alright there?
Yeah.
Right, remember them pictures of sweet corn? I always fancied planting sweet corn, and here it's actually in the ground ready. This will grow to about 8 foot high and produce great big corn on the cobs. So I can't wait for that to happen. We're looking at a good few months off. So we'll look at that. We'll water this after. I'll weed all round it, and we'll move on for now. And but you can see them coming on. We'll move on for now, and we'll have a look at something else. Right, have a guess what we've got here. Black currants. Who loves blackcurrant juice? I bet all you kids out there love blackcurrant juice. Well, these are really, really rich in flavour. And this year we've had a lot of rain. We had the sun in April, quite a lot of sun in April, really, really early. I think they've ripened off a little bit earlier than normal. These are full of something called riboflavin, and you know, like I say, you can use these in fruit salads, great in pies, crumbles, jams, all kinds of things. People make soups out of blackcurrants and things now, but they're really, really rich when they're dark and they swell up like this. That's when they're ready, when they're big and fat like that, big and fat and juicy. I'm going to take a nice big bucket of these blackcurrants home, because these are really good and healthy, full of antioxidants, and they're meant to be good for health. And yeah, like I said, they've grown quite well. There's a lot of weeds in there again. The weeds just go bananas. I'd have to be on here every day, I think, you know, trying to fight some of the weeds down. But you can see how much there is, how much is going to come off the site, how many blackcurrants, and you just get buckets and buckets. The bigger the bushes go each year, the more blackcurrants you get. You've just got to try and keep the weeds down. But that's fantastic, that. So we're going to get some of them later. Great, so let's move on to something else. I'll throw them down. Right. Remember what I said about planting things in tubs in your garden? This apple tree, it's only been in 1 year. I bought it from the supermarket. Look how many apples are on it now. There's loads of apples. There must be 15 apples or so on the tree. The leaves look good and healthy, like that. And what I've done is I've supported this tree with a stake so it doesn't blow around too much like that. I put a stake in the ground, I've tied it like that, and it supports the branches. Now these apples will be ready in about 8 weeks. They'll have gone sort of like that size, and they'll be nice and juicy and sweet. When you grow your own apples, they're always really sweet in flavour. They've got a real nice sort of taste. But the thing with it is, if you put horse muck round the bottom, try and keep the grass down, you know, try and keep any weeds down or anything like that, and just keep watering it, you know, get plenty of water into the roots. So quite pleased with that. It's a good healthy tree, that. Now let's move on, and I'll show you what happens when the tree's not so healthy. Right, here's another tree bought at the same time. Similar tree to that. This one, don't know what's happened to it. I can't tell you, I'm not an expert, but not everything lives, not everything grows. So this one, you can see it's dead as a dodo. Totally dead. Nothing in it, it's gonna have to come out. Okay, money wasted, but I paid £5 for that, £5 for this. So in the next couple of years, I'm more than had £10 worth of apples out of that. I'll have had the benefit of it growing, watching it growing, and how nice it is. This one, I've just got to put this one down to a loss. What I'll do next year, I'll put another tree in here to replace it, another young tree, which I'll probably pay between £5 and £10 for. Maybe another apple tree, because the pollination On the next allotment to me they've got bees, and the bees will help pollinate all the flowers and the fruit and everything. So it's a great thing. The bees are absolutely fantastic. That's what we need, lots and lots of bees to pollinate all the flowers, give us lots of fruit. So that's great. I'm going to move on to a pear tree now. There's a pear tree next to me. Right, you can see the pears. These are called conference pears. They grow in abundance on trees, but the thing I've got to watch for now is there's a bit of a disease on the leaves. Can you see this? What you're supposed to do is put all these leaves in a carrier bag and take them away and burn them, because they normally spread the leaves. The fruit's okay. The fruit looks quite good, and that'll get bigger. They always have a bit of a skin like that. You get quite a lot of roughage on pears. Really juicy again, different type of pear, really nice. There's another one here called a commis pear. That's like a fat one. They grow big and fat. They're totally different, and they're a much bigger pear than conference pears, but they're all juicy. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't beat a juicy pear. So let's move on. Right, this one's a plum tree. So you can see the plums here. They're all green, and they go sort of like a nice reddy colour when they get ripe. So this is quite a healthy tree. The leaves are quite healthy, but again, it's only a year old. Now after 1 year, and I only paid £5 for this tree as well. Look how much fruit's on it. Look how much fruit is on this tree. Loads. So in about 5-6 weeks, sometime sort of like beginning of August, this will probably be ready. So what I'll do is I'll come back to it. So I'll let you know then. So let's move on to something else. Cheers. Right, here we've got raspberries. Raspberries are really juicy. Last year I had to dig a whole lot of these bushes out because they just started going wild. They were just spreading for fun. They're really lovely, really nice fruit, as you can see. They're really moist and juicy, and raspberries are lovely, and I really love the flavour of raspberries. To me, raspberries have got a lot more flavour than strawberries. When strawberries are really ripe, yeah, they're great, but you can't beat a good raspberry. And these are quite nice. These are quite nice and plump. They do grow pretty much like a weed once they get going. What you find with raspberries, it's always the new growth. When you get the new growth for that year, you get the good raspberries on it. So you have to chop out all the old raspberry canes each year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an area on here just for raspberries so they don't keep spreading, and try and sort of like sectionalise it, maybe even grow them in pots. Sometimes if you grow them in pots, it keeps them exactly where you want them to be. Because raspberries, like I say, will just keep spreading, going outwards, and they just go everywhere. Right, so I'm quite pleased with that. So we're going to get another tub full of them after, and I'll show you that when we're done. So great stuff. Let's move on to something else. Ready? Here we've got gooseberries. When gooseberries are ripe, they start plumping up like that. They look like a big fat grape, and they go like a yellowy colour when they get ripe. What you do is you top and tail them, you pinch them out like that, and then you stew them. You can make jam or crumbles or gooseberry pie. You can actually eat them like that. Quite nice. I mean, the bigger they get and the more yellowy, the more sweet. They're quite tasty. Gooseberries don't tend to be used too much these days. You don't hear people saying, "Oh, I had gooseberries for a sweet." But remember, they grow on a bush. Each year the bush gets bigger. You get more gooseberries. They're a real good thing to put in a fruit salad, or a real good thing to put in a fruit pie, a fruit crumble. A real good thing just having your fruit bowl and eat. So have a go at growing gooseberries. If you've got a corner in your garden, put a gooseberry bush in and keep watering it. Each year it'll get bigger. It'll give you more and more gooseberries. Give it a little bit of a feed, a bit of horse muck, or a bit of a nice bit of manure or something like that. And that's how you want them to look, that sort of size. If you look on this bush, there are smaller ones. So I reckon maybe 1 to 2 weeks they'll all be ready for picking them, but I'm going to finish that one. That's quite tasty, that. So we'll move on to something else.
and I'll fill you in later on, you know, when we've got a few tubs full of fruit to take home.